The U.S. will set up a transparency institution while the EU sends experts to monitor the process. Oliver Varhelyi says the principles that agreed on with the World Bank and other financial institutions must be respected, as corruption will not be tolerated. The Democratic Party reports former and current ministers of health, Ilir Becai and Uger Monastiliu, along with 8 other people, to SPAC for corruption. It's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, the 18th of February, 2020. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Christopher, bringing you the only update of the local Albanian news translated into English. The reconstruction process will be under the strict supervision of Americans and the Europeans. From the U.S.'s projected donation, approximately $5 million worth of a portion will go towards building an institution strictly for transparency. But the EU will also send experts to Albania to monitor the process to make sure that every penny donated by the international community goes where it is needed. The Donors Conference raised €1,115 million, while the earthquake had a bill of €1 billion. We have to come to an agreement in setting out the key principles of transparency. We want this sign of solidarity to be invested in a transparent and accountable way. We are ready to send our experts and are willing to sign the agreement together. This way, we will make sure that the basic principles of reconstruction are respected. I have offered all of our support to go through the rebuilding process together, said Ursula von der Leyen. I saw a lot of people betting on television screens and online news that it would be a disaster. They've now lost the bet, and me on my government. We can and will manage this money properly. We are working with our American friends in these institutions. We are sure that Ursula will give the best of them. It is a huge sum for us, and we need to do our best to secure its transparency. As you saw, American friends didn't come with a lot of money, but some good arguments to make sure that this money was used transparently. They were more generous than I expected, and while I was in the U.S., I was asked to build a transparency academy that would monitor standards and evaluate criteria and procedures for public tenders, said Edi Rama. EU Enlargement Commissioner Oliver Varhelyi praises the Donors Conference for Albania held in Brussels on Monday and expresses cautious optimism about the opening of negotiations in March. In an interview with Deutsche Welle, Varhelyi said it would be the EU itself that would be involved in implementing the funding provided by the Donors Conference, while warning that the corruption would not be tolerated. Of course, implementation will be the key. The principles that we have agreed with the World Bank and other financial institutions must be respected. We have good established working relations with the government of Albania so far, and will ensure that the money will be used reasonably. We will also work to enable Albania to withstand earthquakes in the future. Now, we need to invest wisely in this money. We will help Albania to do so. We will be involved in implementation, and it is very clear where the biggest needs are, in the housing sector and in the public buildings. We will be very involved in the implementation of the funds, and will ensure that all principles, our rules are respected, Varhelyi told Deutsche Welle. As for the opening negotiations, the commissioner said that the issue of integration should not be confused with that of assistance to cope with post-earthquake reconstruction. I would not unite these issues, as they are two separate things. Today, Albanians needed help, and we helped them. With regard to enlargement process, Albania has yielded results, and we are working with them, but also with the countries. But we are optimistic but realistic. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and it is too early to say. I can say this, though. We at the European Commission are very committed to achieving this. Albania is very committed to achieving results. I understand positive signals from member states, but again, we have to work hard, said the Enlargement Commissioner. The head of the SMI, Monica Kurimadi, reacted to the funds raised by the Donor Conference for the reconstruction of Albania. Speaking to the media, Monica Kurimadi commented that the enthusiasm was over and the government's accountability should begin. Work on housing reconstruction, she says, should start as soon as possible. This praise is more than a thank you, but it is a hope that will give Albanians a strength to continue the battle and show them that they are not alone, but they are supported by the EU. Yesterday's meeting clearly showed that there is no prejudice against Albania and the Albanians. On the contrary, they feel obliged to help. What I want to emphasize is that the enthusiasm has ended. The responsibility of the Albanian government now must begin. 265 million euros will be allotted for Albanian households undergoing reconstruction. Their homes should be built as soon as possible. They are happy to enter their homes because yesterday's meeting gave the Albanians the opportunity for a moment of calm. For the management of funds and loans granted to Albania, Kurimadi demanded the establishment of a monitoring institution with independent experts. Albanians, said Kurimadi, do not trust the government. The Prime Minister's smile was great because he has been seeking loans to pay salaries and administrative expenses for years. 885 million euros in loans is the amount that the Albanians will pay. Therefore, it is important to have an independent monitoring institution with experts who will monitor the whole project, as the Albanians' trust in this government has been reduced. The U.S. will establish a system of transparency with the money that the Academy has given yesterday, which will help Albania to be accountable for the donations. Facing a government that is incapable and unable to manage the budget, Kurimadi said the opposition would be vigilant and would follow step by step how the EU money would be used. We will be ready and vigilant to follow the transparency related to rebuilding Albanian homes, but also of schools, kindergartens, churches, and mosques, which are public spaces that serve the citizens. We will also follow this government step by step with how they will use the money that Europe gave Albanians yesterday for their luxury flights, offices, or administration investments. There is no longer any reason to delay resolving the problems of families who lost their homes and are now sleeping in tents. We look now forward to seeing these citizens who have seeking to help these citizens who have lost their homes to the earthquake of November 26th and to their children to be able to go to school like all of their children. But it is also very important that we attend to the hundreds of thousands of other families that are at risk of another earthquake so that this catastrophe does not happen again as it happened last November 26th. The Democratic Party has submitted the criminal report for the concession of the checkup to the Special Anti-Corruption Prosecution, or known as SPAC, considering it one of the most corrupt decisions of the Rama's government. The Democratic Party has reported to SPAC at least 10 people, including former Minister of Health Ilir Becaj, current Minister of Health Ogeta Manastiliu, and shareholder of a beneficiary medical company, Vilma Nushi. They are charged with 7 counts, ranging from active and passive corruption and abuse of office for illegal gain. According to the administered evidence, it results that the Ministry of Health has inexplicably hastened to complete in a predetermined manner this concessionary procedure. It has presumed the lack of complaint from other operators, a fact which proves that the whole concessionary procedure was fictitious and the winner was predetermined, read the statement signed by the PD Secretary General Gazmend Bardhi. In a complaint filed by the Democratic Party, it is noted through evidence that public officials have not exercised control or allowed the continuation of contract violations, causing immense damage to the Albanian citizens and state finances. This is not only a consequence of incompetence, but it is based on a financial and economic interest that forces them to discharge their duties and allow for extraordinary breaches of contract, the Democratic Party said in a statement. Thanks to DP, all the violations committed have accused economic damage to the state budget, and a violation of equality in property in public interest has been proven, given the quality of the service and the financial relationship between the winner and the health insurance fund. The Knitting Initiative also submitted another report to the SPAC for this concession, claiming that the firm benefited 1.7 billion Albanian lek without providing any services. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.